Today on the podcast, we've got Dan and Erika Brynildsen, the owners of Riverbend Axe Throwing, an exciting business in the Glen area. And as we'll reveal on the podcast, they are soon to be business owners of a brand new other business for our area. We're going to reveal that on the podcast today. Stick around.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we meet and learn from our CFE coaches, where we occasionally talk with some of our CFE CrossFitters, but also we get to meet and learn from some of our locally owned Glen Ed business owners, some of the characters behind it, which is what we get to do today. I'm so excited about it. Glad to be with you all. As always, I'm your co-host, Dallas Amston, with Communicate to Succeed, helping you communicate in your business effectively, keynote presentations, sale presentations, all of that fun goodness. But with me, as always, my fearless co-host, Coach G Scale. How the heck are you, G?
Hey guys, Coach G here. I'm the co-host and CEO, GM at CrossFit Edwardsville. Super excited. This podcast has been a long time in the making. At long last, we finally get to welcome, after probably like months of behind the scenes planning and preparation, the owners, the founders, the leaders of Riverbend Axe Throwing, Dan and Erika Brynildsen. Dan, Erika, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. Hey guys, good to see you. Thanks for having us.
So, to being the owners of Riverbend Axe Throwing, a local business with multiple locations, and soon to be owners of another brand new business in the area that we'll reveal later in the podcast. Dan and Erika are also both competitive traveling axe throwers. They are active in their church and the parents to 4 wonderful kids. And Dan is actually a pro member of the World Axe Throwing League Pro Circuit, ranked between number 6 and number 10 in the world, and a senior manager and on-site tech support for TD Ameritrade and a recreational hockey player. And if that was not enough, Erika, his amazing wife, is a healthcare hero, serving as the chief nursing officer at the Rehab Hospital in St. Louis. So our first question to you two is, how do you find time for all of this?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think I have to say, Erika says, I just don't sit still well. So we're always doing something. But I have to say, I think as a team, honestly, everything we do is as a team, whether it's parenting or, career choices or business choices, whatever it is. We do it as a team. We do it as a family. We always got each other's back. Our marriage first, family first, everything else second. And, we prayerfully consider everything we do. And we just kind of follow God's steps, and He's provided for us along the way. But yeah, no, we basically just don't get any sleep. That's
one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, today on the podcast, we're going to learn from Dan and Erika directly about Riverbend Axe Throwing, the origin story, and more, and do the big reveal of their new business. So stick around for that. But we're also going to learn about them as founders, as people, and entrepreneurs. Dan and Erika, you guys excited to get started?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do this.
I'll throw it over to my dude, Dallas, to start queuing up the questions. Dallas, take it away, my friend.
Well, we always like to start with some of the easier ones. So let's get into this first. For those who don't know, what is, I think it's self-explanatory in the name. What is axe throwing?
Yeah, axe throwing, right? So you take an axe and then you throw it, right? No, for real though. So it's funny. People always say axe throwing. That's like this new, cool sport, right? Like, well, yeah, but it's also probably one of the oldest sports known to mankind, right? It's like one of the oldest tools. And I guarantee as long as that tool's been around, there've been a couple of guys or people standing around going, hey, I bet you can't make it stick closer to that knot. Oh, I bet I can. And then you've seen it, you see it play out through the years in hunting, in warfare, the axe, the tomahawk, so a lot of rendezvous and things like that. You see tomahawk throwing. So this version of axe throwing is called urban axe throwing. It's the newest rendition of the sport, mostly governed by the World Axe Throwing League. And then you see it play out recreationally in venues like ours, where people come in, socialize, hang out, have fun, and learn a new sport. So, yeah, excellent.
And so I'm actually looking at this for those of you who are not watching this, for those of you who are listening to this podcast on audio, G is showing their home website here. I didn't know you guys had 2 locations in East Alton and in Jerseyville.
Yeah, right on. So we opened our East Alton location back September of 2019, and then we opened our Jerseyville location just this past March. So,
all right. My wife is originally from Jerseyville, Illinois, so close to the crowd, but not in it, as the sign says as you drive into Jerseyville. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
So, okay. With this idea, how long have you guys been throwing axes, and what attracted you to it, and what made you go, hey, I want to go from being athlete to business owner here?
Yeah, so this is all Erika's fault, really.
Good job,
for my birthday is in December, and 3 years ago, December of 2018, she took me axe throwing for my birthday as a surprise, right? But she knew, and as a couple, we like to do active, fun things when we get a chance to kind of get out and be away from the kids. So she found a Groupon for a local axe throwing place. We grabbed a couple of friends. We went axe throwing. It was fun. We had a good time, but at that time we didn't think a whole lot more of it. And then later on that next year, 2019, I managed teams, as Greg mentioned, from my real job, currently my real job. I have a team in Dallas and a team in Omaha. So whenever I go out there, I look for fun, like team building things to do, right? And I was like, hey, let's go axe throwing, right? So we went axe throwing as a team building activity. It was a blast. Everybody had a good time. Nobody had really done it before, and they'd all wanted to try it. So did that with my team in Dallas, my team in Omaha. So got a little exposure to it. Then later on that summer, actually on this Alabama trip, we're sitting in Alabama in a coffee shop right now. We do this every year with extended family. All my cousins, we all come to, and there's like 20 of us. So we always look for something fun to do as a group. So we went on our summer vacation with the whole group. Same thing, right? Everybody had a blast. It was still this new thing that people wanted to try. We were starting to see like how different places were set up, and we're like, hey, this is a pretty cool concept, very doable. So it's actually on our way back home from this summer vacation 3 years ago. We were like, hey, it was halfway.
Not we.
Yeah. Halfway jokingly on the way home, I'm like, hey, we could open an axe throwing place. And she's like, ha ha ha. I'm like, no, for real. So, we started talking about it, and, I grew up in the Alton area, and we both did, right? And, we started noticing in East Alton in the Eastgate Plaza, where our first location is, they were putting a lot of money in revitalizing that area. We're like, that'd be a great location. There's not much to do there. It'd be a great place to open this up. And started talking to developers, and the doors just kept opening up, and one thing led to another. And we ended up having a family meeting. We involved our 4 kids, and we said, okay, this is what we're thinking about doing. We want to know if you guys are in. And of course, at that time, our kids are 11, 9, 7, and 5 right now.
Okay.
So at that time, they were, 8, 6, 4, and 2, right? So we brought the kids together and said, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. Family business. Are you guys in? Should we open an axe throwing place? And I mean, what kid wouldn't say yes to that, right? So they voted. We agreed. We decided to just jump in and do it, right?
And so that was 3 years ago now?
That was 3 years ago, like this week, that we decided we were going to do it.
Happy anniversary to you guys.
Yeah, thanks. Crazy.
So I'll throw this question over to Erika. Erika, what's the mission of Riverbend Axe Throwing? Like your mission statement, your vision statement, your core purpose. And as you get into this, please also share the details of like the monthly 10% donation to local nonprofits that you guys do as a part of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, we grew up in the Alton area. There's not much to do for people our age, even people a little bit older, even a little bit younger, that's kind of 20 plus. There's not much to do unless you want to go bowling. There's one bowling alley, or you want to go downtown to the bars. Like, otherwise, you're kind of out of luck. So, like you said, we like to do active things. We know there's a lot of active entertainment or locations in that place. They just opened a gym in the Eastgate Plaza. So the people that want that kind of atmosphere. And we have fun doing it. So we're like, this would be a great venue, activity, opportunity for people in that community to do something fun with people they like, where you're not just sitting there. You can actually get up, you can do something, you can talk, you can have a drink. I mean, we do have a bar, but you could do all these things.
I
and still have fun.
always find drinking and axe throwing to be a really great combo.
Completely logical combination.
One hand on my
Absolutely.
can, one hand on the axe. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. It's like golf, you know. You get
What
better
could
after a couple. Yeah.
That's funny.
But like you also said, so we decided to also model our business kind of like we model our marriage and our family. We are, like Greg said, very active in our church. Our faith means a lot to us. And so we have our life formulated where we give 10% of our life back to God because He has blessed us so richly. So we wanted to kind of formulate our business the same way. So we decided to give 10% of our business earnings back to the community, back to local nonprofits that are doing things that we believe in and want to support to help that community grow and flourish. So it's really cool to be able to do that through our business.
Yeah.
Since it's all of our success is attributed to Him.
Yeah. It's been cool to have the opportunity to help these other organizations do and to let people know when they come in, they're supporting us in our small business, but they're also supporting the community and the things that other small businesses and charitable organizations are doing, in our community, in the Riverbend area. So, now that's pretty awesome. And to us, it was a no-brainer, right? A lot of people would say 10% of your profit, like that's a lot, but hey, God gives it. He just asked us to give a little bit back, and we feel blessed when we get to give it back. So it's a no-brainer for us.
I remember when that got reshaped for me when somebody said, no, you don't give back 10%. You just steward 90%.
Yeah, absolutely.
From what God gives. I remember somebody saying that to me. So I do have to ask, and this isn't in the questions that G sent you ahead of time, but I guess I didn't think that you had been in it for such a short period of time, Dan. How did you go within 3 years to being part of the World Axe Throwing League Pro Circuit, ranked between number 6 and number 10 in the world? You've obviously got a knack for the axe.
Yeah. So no, I've always enjoyed doing active things. I've always been an athlete. So it's one of those things where when I get into something, like I get into it, and I I practice. And I have that drive to want to be better in college hockey. And this is the first thing since then that really drives my competitive spirit to be better. So we started leagues up shortly after opening our location, and we always intended for leagues and the sport of it to be a big part of it. So, just that drive to be better. It's funny. People are like, "Oh yeah, you own an axe throwing venue. You probably get to practice all the time." I'm like, no, I practice at home in the garage because whenever I'm at the venue, I'm working.
Right.
So it's just that drive to be better, and I think God's gifted me with the ability to do things like this. But yeah, no, it's such a fun sport, and if you got a competitive athletic bone in your body, once you start doing it, it's addictive.
Sure.
So is this the first business that you guys have started? Give us your background as entrepreneurs, even before Riverbend Axe Throwing.
Yeah, so I always tell people I had a newspaper route from the time I was 10 until I was 20. So that, I think from the early ages, we had to go to people's houses and collect money and so you learn the business side of all that stuff from an early age, and you learn the value of hard work and payoff and everything else. But the newspaper routes for me being young, and then I started in IT when I was in high school, and pretty quickly, even my teachers in high school, oh, you fix computers? So my teachers were paying me to come to their house to fix their computers. So that quickly turned into kind of a side business, and I was supporting companies and stuff like that. So my folks that own a couple small businesses now, and so it's pretty strong in our family too, the entrepreneurial stuff, as well as Erika's family.
I grew up. My dad owned a restaurant growing up, a meat market. So I grew up around a small business owner in helping from a young age, and then actually after we got married, I think right after we had our third, I started selling one of those multi-level kind of things just because I liked the product and believed in it, and so I sold it for a while and enjoyed it. I think I like small business also for the community it brings.
Sure.
I am definitely a people person. I like people, so I think it kind of brings that aspect to it as well.
Yeah, the small business side is really cool, and I don't think you understand small business until you are a small business. Understand the relationship between small businesses and how small businesses are the fabric of most communities, right? You don't understand that fully until you are a small business, I think. And it's amazing to kind of see how small businesses work together, like this one, right? Like this partnership and doing this and helping each other out. And it's really a really cool thing to be part of.
Yeah, for sure. I know, I just was saying to one of my kids just recently, we were driving through Edwardsville, and we're just driving through this street where it's sign in front of what looks like a home, sign in front of what looks like a home, but it makes up all of Edwardsville. And I was just explaining to my son, I said, buddy, all of these people are entrepreneurs, and they started this on this dream and this grit, and this going through that process is definitely a lot of fun. So that's awesome. Well, let me ask you then a quick question about Riverbend Axe Throwing itself specifically. You guys started pre-pandemic, so I'm sure there was a fun little hiccup during all of that. But how has the business itself kind of evolved since the beginning? What's different now between when you started and again, the pandemic? How did that affect you?
Yeah. We started in September of 2019, right?
Yeah.
So we were open for like 6 months before, like everyone else, we had to shut down for 6 weeks or for 10 weeks, right? So fortunately, we did very well over the winter. And we put money back because we knew the spring and summer would be slower because the weather's nice. People want to be outside. So fortunately, we were able to put money back, which definitely helped to get us through the pandemic. We both work full time, and if we didn't both work full time, we probably, we would have had probably close the doors or go back to work full time, right? There would have been no way for us to do that. So we were kind of blessed in that. The timing, everything that worked out. We had planned to build a mobile unit actually prior to the pandemic even starting, but the time that we were closed for the pandemic actually gave us the time to build our mobile unit out, and then we started running it that spring, that summer, which really, really helped because people were much more comfortable with being outside and having you come to them and
just being with their crowd.
Yeah, exactly. So that really helped, timing on all those pieces. Like everybody else, right? I think surviving COVID is a badge of honor for small businesses.
Yeah.
To have survived that. But the community really came around too, and Erika. So we have a bar too, right? So we had a ton of inventory that we're closed. We can't sell it. It's going to go bad, right? So Erika we used like Square or whatever. So we kind of used the online portion, which we never thought we'd have to use, and became kind of like a convenience store, sold a lot of our beer and wine. I also put a lot of our merch up there. The community was amazing. We had one guy come in and buy 4 of the same hats, because he had been in the store. He loved it. It was the only hat he wore. He actually wore it that day. He goes, "This is gross. My wife won't let me wear it out anymore, so I have to have some more. So I need backup." So he came in and bought 4 hats. So it was really cool to see the community bond behind us because they wanted us to survive in those moments.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Love that. One of the things that we did during the pandemic, we actually did like a fundraiser to support local businesses in our area, local small businesses. Like we sold T-shirts, and every dollar of proceeds that we made, we actually went and we bought gift cards to a lot of different local businesses, and then took those gift cards and gifted it to our CrossFitters for various things. And so it was our little way of giving back also. And I'd love to hear that people were doing that as well, associated with your business. Very cool stuff. So that's all about Riverbend Axe Throwing. And quick shout out, quick plug, if you want to learn more about Riverbend Axe Throwing, Riverbend Axe Throwing.com to learn more about them. But Erika, Dan, we have heard you might be bringing a new business to the area. So can you guys do the big reveal for our audience now? What's about to happen here?
All right. The big reveal. I don't know how. Oh, yeah. Drum roll. Yeah. So we are bringing a Play It Again Sports store to Edwardsville. We are going to be opening a pretty big Play It Again Sports store. We're going to sell all the sports. We're going to sell both new and quality used sports equipment. It is a franchise store. So we've been in this process since about January. They opened the territory. It was quite a process to go through. We were awarded the territory. And then we're going through all the process to get funding lined up and get our location lined up. We're about to sign our lease. So I don't want to say quite yet where we're going to be, but it's going to be in Edwardsville. And it's going to be very recognizable where we're going to be at. We'll be on a main road, that kind of stuff. But no, the brand is very strong in this area. People know, and everybody we've talked to, like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Now I don't have to drive 30 minutes, 45 minutes to get any sort of real sports gear.
Right.
And that's the thing. For years, we've kind of said, how does Edwardsville, a town that revolves around sports and schools and athletics and all of that, how do we not have a real sports store? And not to put down, Hibbett Sports or Walmart or those guys who carry some athletic equipment, right? But to have a real sports store, like I need a new hockey stick, right? Like you need a place to go. Like right now, you got to go 45 minutes away. So we're gonna carry all the sports. We're gonna carry ice hockey. We're gonna carry baseball and softball and lacrosse and football and disc golf's a big one and ball golf. I say ball golf. I don't know if you ever know a disc golfer. Don't call ball golf real golf. Yeah, they'll correct you pretty quick. They'll say that's ball golf and disc golf. That's a big thing. But no, so we're going to carry all the sports, new and used. Like I said, I've been an athlete all my life, so I love this opportunity to kind of turn a passion into another business. And with this business, I'll be leaving my full-time job to run our 3 businesses full-time.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're excited to bring that to the community. We're hoping to have it open. It's going to be open this fall. We're hoping to have it open in early November to kind of hit the holiday buying season. But before we're open to sell, we'll actually be open to buy for like 4 to 8 weeks prior. Because to open up, they want to make sure you have a good supply, a good inventory of good used equipment.
Yeah.
Keep the brand strong. We sell new, but we also sell used, and we buy used from people on the spot. Pay cash to people on the spot for their gently used sports equipment. So you don't have to, again, not to bash Facebook Marketplace or anything like that, because we've done it quite a bit. But this is a place,
time.
a safe business you can walk into. We'll give you cash on the spot for your used sports equipment. Right? You got your kids' cleats. Like our son is 7. He's been playing baseball for 2 years. I think he's on his 4th pair of cleats.
He went through 3 pairs this summer alone.
Just because their feet grow so fast, right? So no, it's a great place to bring those cleats in. We'll buy them from you, and you can buy another pair, at a discount because we're gently used also, or buy a new pair. And while you're in there, grab the accessories you need for this or that, or
one-stop shop.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to have a true, legit, athlete-approved sports store in our town. Man, we're excited.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Quite a process.
I'm excited for you guys. Excited. I guess you can't reveal yet what your location is going to be, but it sounds like it's going to be a pretty visible location off of a main thoroughfare, off of a major artery. So I think that when the Brynildsen team arrives with round 3 small business, then we're going to be finding out pretty soon. And this area being as committed to youth sports as it is, it should be a no-brainer. This should be a home run, pun intended, for you guys.
There it is. Dad joke. I think I need to we just need a sound effect for these podcasts when a dad joke comes out where it's like wah wah every time. I just need a horn here by the microphone.
Well, I learned the sports analogies from you, my friend. I've learned it from the best.
That's true. Well, I didn't want you to strike out, but you did. You did great on that one. So there it is. So guys, let me ask you let's switch away from some of your business endeavors and learn a little bit more just about the two of you as people. Tell us a little bit more about your upbringing, your childhood, where you're from originally, family, special memories that kind of maybe helped shape who you are as a person. Let's learn about Dan and Erika as people, not just entrepreneurs.
Super.
Yeah, so as Dan said, we both grew up in
He handed it to his wife first. That is an intelligent man.
We both grew up in the Alton area. Actually, we met at high school at Alton High. So high school sweethearts. So we've been together for quite some time. Oh, so cute.
For those of you not watching, Dan did the smart move and put his arm around his wife lovingly.
Yeah.
Actually, this week we celebrate our 15-year wedding anniversary as well. So we've been together for quite some time.
Thursday.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
15 years.
But I came from a family with my mom, my dad, my brother. Like I said, a lot of small businesses in my family. I've lived mostly in Alton. We lived in California for a year.
What part?
We lived in San Diego.
Okay.
My dad got moved there with Jack in the Box. He worked for Jack in the Box headquarters, so we moved there. Realized we didn't love being away from family. My dad's job changed a little bit. So that's actually when we moved home, and my dad started his small business at that point in my life. I was in 5th grade, so
Got it.
most of what I remember, my dad owned a small business. But otherwise, yeah, I've been involved in sports as well. I played softball my whole life growing up. That was my kind of passion, my love. But now I nurse by trade. I've worked in the same building for 15 years, and now run it. I'm in charge, which is a little scary sometimes. And then we have our 4 beautiful children. We have a 11-year-old Anna, a 9-year-old Emma, a 7-year-old Noah, and then Kayla is 4.5. And she will make sure you know it.
4.5.
4.5.
Half year matters when you're 4. That's
Absolutely.
like the 1/8 of your life, right?
I was going to say it's going to be an 1/8 of your life at this point. 1/9 of your life. It's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll add to that, right? So you mentioned, so I grew up primarily in Alton as well. I mean, my dad was in the Air Force, so we moved around a little bit when I was young. So Scott Air Force Base is what brought us to this area. So we lived a little bit on the Missouri side when I was young, but we moved to Alton when I was probably 7 or 8, and then we pretty much lived there ever since, right? So I went to Zion Lutheran School in Basalto for grade school, but then went to Alton High. Actually, that's where we met. Hockey was always my sport, like I mentioned. So I played hockey for Alton, and then I played hockey at SIUE after that. But we met in high school. We got together then. Erika went away to school. She went to Winston-Salem, North Carolina for Wake Forest University.
I'm a little older than him.
She's a couple years older than me. I don't want to say she's a cougar or anything, but that's what it is, right? No, so we did the long distance thing for 4 years, and that was and that was that was tough, but it was the challenge that we needed to know that hey, we're in it to win it here, right? We're we got what it takes to make it, and we've learned that you get out of what you put into it. We've worked at it. 15 years later, here we are, right, with 4 kids in tow, but we wouldn't change a thing. It's been awesome, been crazy. We've always kind of leaned into our faith and leaned into God for direction, and He's provided, right? I have 4 brothers. Sorry, I'm going back to a little bit of my upbringing, right? So I have 4 brothers. There's 5 of us. So we played pretty much every sport under the sun, and there was always something to do, and that's how we knew like we wanted a bigger family. It was just her and her brother. So there's 2 in their family. There was 5 in mine. So we said, hey, we want more than two kids, but less than 5. So we ended up with 4.
There you go.
And it's pretty awesome. But no, we love the community. We live in Glen now. We've been at our church for about 14 years, just not too long after we got married. So we love the area. So we've been a big part of the area and been living in the area for about the last 10 years. So so we're excited to be able to build and plant roots in the community and offer things to enrich the community, right? Whether it's Palladium Sports or Riverbend Axe Throwing or just helping support other small businesses, help other people kind of started. We just love being a part of the community. Right?
Sure. Well, so usually we ask people outside of work and business, what do you do as far as hobbies and fun? It sounds like, first of all, it sounds like you made your hobby your business. But is there anything else outside of those pursuits that are hobbies or fun or not work related you guys just like to kill time with?
I mean, I don't really have any extra time.
Yeah, I figured.
I like to do a little crafting. I have a Cricut. My daughter and I both like to kind of make signs out of it or shirts or whatever for the fun of it. We've talked about incorporating that in our business down the road too. And so, but yeah, no extra time for real.
I was going to say my hobby when I get a chance to do it is sleeping. It's just a hobby at this point. It's not much more than that.
Yeah.
No, it's let's see, other hobbies. I still play hockey. I run a men's league. We play every Sunday night down at East All Nice Arena. So I still try to do that to stay in shape. You know, what's cool is our kids are at such a fun age, and they actually still want to be with us. So we try to spend as much time as we can with them, and we've turned a lot of these hobbies and businesses into opportunities to hang out with the family. So
our girls, our 11 and 9-year-old, actually throw axes. They throw them competitively as well. They're actually a dual team. Their team name is Mad Sisters. They have their own logo. They're very well known in the community. Everybody looks for them, so it's pretty cool.
So I'd say any of our spare time kind of goes to making sure we're doing fun things with family. You know, we travel to axe throwing tournaments quite a bit, so we try to turn those trips into family trips as much as we can, and really still build those memories while, you know, being crazy busy with all this stuff. But the kids are fully bought in. Like, our kids are excited about playing sports. Like, can we work there? I'm like, yeah.
My 9-year-old may bring everything from every sport home with her. Ooh, can I try this?
Yeah, so they're getting into sports now too. Like I said, our son's playing baseball, and he's starting to play hockey now too. And our daughter's playing softball, and she's starting to play hockey also. Wow. And then, you know, Anna's really into her art, and she's got very talented as an artist in drawing, and she's starting to get into music, and she's going to play a little bit of golf this fall, I think. So we're starting to do the crazy run around, go from one sports event to the other thing too. So
sure.
Yeah, there's times I don't know how we do it all either, but you know, that kind of goes to with the playing against sports. I'm stepping away from my full-time job to run our 3 businesses, and that's going to free up some time to do, you know, because right now it's kind of like we're at that point where something's got to give, and we didn't want to have to give up the things that we've built, you know,
and that we love,
right? Like you said, we turned our hobbies into businesses. They say if you're doing what you love, you never work a day in your life, right? So that's kind of what we're working towards, and we're excited about that. And we know that it's crazy times now, but you know, we're building towards a future that's going to be that much more awesome, and the legacy we can pass down and things like that, and potentially hoping to get to the point one day where we're both full time just running our businesses. And,
right.
Yeah.
Right. I love how you mentioned legacy, because I think one of the really interesting variables that comes up is if you've come from a family of entrepreneurial people, and it sounds like both of you guys have, it's then sort of passed on to you, and you take it to the next level, and then maybe you pass it on to your kids also, and they become the next generation of entrepreneurs, because like they're actually seeing and living it alongside you guys and learning from you. My dad was entrepreneurial almost by accident. He started the Pathology Associates of Mount Vernon, Illinois, and that became his business. And I remember what it was like watching that business blow up and seeing his business take off. And then he hired my mom to work for his business. He hired me to work for his business. And so I kind of learned by being in the business accidentally what that was like. And so it was passed on to me. And I think Dallas too, some of his family also has a similar background. Dallas, you want to speak to that a little bit?
Well, I mean, so my family, I come from a long line of pastors. So my grandfather was the president of the Illinois Prison Ministry for a long time before he passed. And my parents started a church when I was 4 months old. So I kind of grew up in that, you know, vein of things. And then my brother took over that church about 10, 12 years ago. And so my dad was always entrepreneurial, even in the days of doing door-to-door sales, vacuum sales for Electrolux. It was not necessarily like keep office hours. It was, no, get the job done, do the thing. So that definitely, I think, leads to what I view as a lifestyle, as well as I would kind of suffocate in a cubicle, I think. But I love finding solutions for my clients, helping them develop their programs, their speeches, their presentations. It's just so much fun with me. Plus, it's also a little more project oriented. So it's not like same thing every day. There's new things to do every day. So that definitely feels a part of it as well.
Right.
I think it really shows our kids and your kids too, right? You guys have seen it, that, you know, hard work pays off, you know, and planning and just, you know, not being afraid to go out and do something and try something, right? And you can do it. There's gonna be a lot of people out there who are much more risk averse, right? And they don't want to take that risk. They don't want to try it, and that's okay. The world needs those folks also who are going to do the job, right? But it also needs us. It needs people who are willing to take the risk and jump out and start something new to add value to a community. So it's good for the kids to see that, because they see the other side of it's out there, right? There's lots of big corporations you can go to and you can work for, and I've benefited greatly from those. Like my jobs, my IT career up to this point, I've been in IT for almost 20 years, and it's afforded me to be able to do this now at this point in my life. If I hadn't worked for those and built a skill set in a good career, we wouldn't be at the point now where I can make this transition to work for myself full time. So there's value in both. There's seasons, there's times for things, there's not times for things. I wouldn't have been able to do this. Like I said, if we would have made this jump prior to COVID, we would have probably had to close the doors because we would have had no income coming in, right?
Right.
But because we did our time, we one foot in front of the other and just took it as a game. We've been able to get to the point we're at. So it's hard work. It's timing. Everybody, you guys know it, right? Like small business ownership, being self-employed seems really sexy, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be that, and it is. It's hard work though too, right? Like it's on you, to build this business. If it fails, it's on you. Like so, there's a lot to it, but it can also be very rewarding. So it's great for our kids to see that, know that that's a real option.
I remember when the switch flipped for me, when it was, I worked for someone and I got to slice off some of the buffalo and I got to partake in the buffalo. But then when it was all of a sudden, oh no, I have to hunt the buffalo now. That became a different game. So, and I know G feels that way too.
Definitely. One of the fun things that we get to do, like in our CFE community, so many people that are CrossFitters, that are clients of ours, are business owners. They own the restaurant, they own the factory, they own the research facility. Like they're entrepreneurial, they're go-getters and top performers in various aspects of professional, life. But talking to them, we also learn fun, interesting stories of the flip side of entrepreneurship, like when you crash and burn, or like when you fail, which all of us have been through, right? So I'm curious to hear the horror stories from Dan Erika Brynildsen. Like, how have some failures or apparent failures set you up for later success? Or to put the question a different way, do you guys have a favorite failure from your entrepreneur business history?
I mean, maybe not from for me for the axe throwing, but like I said, I have done some of those MLM scheme kind of things, and I wasn't as bought in. I mean, I liked the product and I wanted to buy it for myself, so that's why I sold it for the discount. But I wasn't as bought in, and I think realizing that until I was 100% committed and until it was my passion, that those things are fine for a season, but they're probably not going to be lifelong. I'm not going to be the person that gets the Mary Kay Cadillac because I don't wear that much makeup. So I'm not bought into makeup, or I don't wear that much jewelry. So I'm not going to be the person that, I'm not going to be the top tier person, because that's just not my passion. Like you have to, I found that I have to love it. I have to almost breathe it. Like this axe throwing, to be honest, I wasn't bought in as much. I thought it'd be fun to do together, but as we've gotten going, and to get to know the community, words cannot express how much I love this community. Some of the friendships I have formed through the axe throwing community are outrageously phenomenal. And so now even more so, I'm 110% bought in because I do love the community. So I think knowing that you have to be so bought in to see it really succeed was a big, huge lesson I learned.
That's good.
Yeah. We mentioned COVID, right? Obviously that wasn't a failure on our behalf, right? It was something that happened to us, but I think everybody had to learn some lessons through that. How to pivot, right? That's what we've learned is, your plans are not always going to work out, right? I think the pandemic taught us all that, we're not in control. So having to be flexible, having to learn how to pivot, how to kind of, all right, let's re-engineer and figure out how to go. But I think timing, right? That's kind of one of the things. I think, having an entrepreneurial spirit, it's like, oh, I want to do it now. But it's like, okay, you got to learn the patience, right? You got the only way to learn patience is to be put in situations where you have to practice patience, right? So that's that's something we've learned. You try to start something too early, and it's not going to go too well. So you have to wait for that right timing. Do the pros and cons list. And figure it out. Sometimes it's disappointing to go, man, I really want to do that, but can't do it right now. This isn't the right time.
Yeah.
But, I think, like Erika mentioned, a couple little things where, I don't want to say failures, but those kind of things you learn a lot of lessons from. I can't think of any, what I would call failures. And part of that may just be in my mind because I don't look at those failures, I look at those opportunities to learn. So different jobs, that I've had, I learned what I like, I learned what I don't like, I've learned my strengths, I've learned my weaknesses, and I learned that those are things that I need to delegate or have other people do. Like, we complement each other really well. Like, I like the vision, I like to plan, I like to build a system, get it spinning, and then hand it off. And then Erika's really good at administration.
You and I have that in common.
Yeah, I love building systems, but the day-to-day of working inside the system, I'm not as big a fan of. Erika's really, really good with that stuff. So we complement each other really well. We have our lanes with our businesses. It's we constantly will be like, all right, stay in your lane. She tells me that more than I tell her that. But
that's such a healthier way to say it. I should learn that.
Yeah, and we've learned that, right? And not to jump off topic, but we've learned as a couple, right, how to run a business together. Not all couples could do that, and probably not recommended for all couples to do that. But we've got such a relationship that it's worked out. We've always been very big on communication, so we communicate clearly. This is mine. This is yours. If we need help with it, we'll ask each other. Or if we see something falling off, we can kind of call each other out. But otherwise, it's I trust you to run that. I'll run this, and we'll make it all work. And
even our staff knows it. They joke because I'll have some of the guys come and be like, hey, do you think we should do whatever with the boards in this lane? And I'm like, and they're like, not your lane, sorry. And they're like, I'm like, nope, sorry, don't know. So
yeah, lots of lessons learned through lots of opportunities.
Sure, that's awesome. So, give us real quickly here. Then, there's always there's the best parts and there's the worst parts, right? And you kind of have covered a few of these already, but just give us man, if I could experience this one thing, I love it every day, I would do it. Or, man, if we could make one problem go away forever, we'd take that road. Give us your best and worst.
You want to go first or we go first?
go ahead.
All right. So the best thing I think about are the axe throwing, right? Is, this may sound corny, but seeing people experience joy, right? So people are coming in a lot of times and they're like, oh, I'm going to be terrible at this, like the axe throwing thing. I'm not going to be able to do it. And you teach them how to do it, and then they learn how to do it, and you just see this pure excitement come over their face, and they're so excited, and they get caught on, they catch on to it, and it becomes so much fun.
Yeah.
And people so often leave us reviews and say, this is the most fun I've had in years, right? So that by far, and I'm a people person. Not everybody are people, right? But that's what fuels me, is seeing people have fun, enjoying what we, have put out there with the intent of people having fun. So that's probably the most fulfilling thing for me.
I would agree. The same kind of token. My favorite is the family that walks in and the mom that says, I'm not going to throw. And when I can walk around and be like, you should try it. And she's like, there's no way. There's no way. I'm never going to stick it. And I'm like, okay, just try it. And if you hate it, we won't make you pay for it. But I promise you're going to want to do it. And then to watch her face the first time she sticks it, and she's like, what? And then she's hooked is my favorite.
It's kind of empowering, right? For people to learn a new thing and to be good at something they didn't think they could be good at, right? It kind of opens up, horizons for them. And what's played against sports, what I'm looking forward to most is, giving families and giving kids an opportunity to try a sport they may not have been able to afford to try. Like myself, playing hockey. I grew up with 4 brothers, and my dad worked days, my mom worked nights. Didn't have a ton of extra money, but due to playing against sports, we were able to get a used set of hockey equipment. I could get into a sport that I would enjoy for the rest of my life, right? So, getting emotional about this. But to be able to apply that, such a an opportunity, a quality ad for the community, like that's really cool for me.
Yeah. I kind of on that same kind of whatever. I think it'll be really cool. He's told me some of the things that are allowed and opportunities to play against sports, to partner with other people in the community who are doing that for the community. So some of these other low income teams and sports things that we can do fundraisers with them and partner with them so that we can help more kids experience sports so they can, grow in their own lives and thrive through things that they may never have gotten to do.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And of course you want the flip side too, right? The stuff we don't love the most. And I'm sure you guys relate to this, right? And it's not something you could give up, right? At least not in our case. We've modeled it where we don't have to be there all the time. But sometimes managing employees, right, can be the most challenging thing, especially when they're part-time jobs, because, people may not be as bought in, right? So as an owner, as the person that holds the vision, to be able to translate and really get that vision into your staff and get them to run things and to understand the why behind the what, and to do things in a way that you really want to see them done, and to relay that passion. It's very difficult sometimes, and then just the logistical stuff of managing people, call offs and people make bad choices and, just it's a tension to be managed. It's not something that we can just cut out, but that's a challenge, especially in this job market too, right? It's consistently a challenge, but at the same time, we've been able to build into a lot of our staff and really build that community with our staff and help them grow as people. So, it's got its pros and cons, but that's the toughest part.
I guess I need to ask something that might seem overly obvious, but how are the insurance rates for you guys?
So this is a funny question. People ask us that all the time.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, the second most asked question is, how often do you have to change your board?
Sure.
So people ask all the time, and actually it's funny, my insurance guy, he said statistically axe throwing is safer than bowling. And people always go, what? How is that possible? But all that to say, it's a significant portion of our monthly bills, but it's not as bad as you would think because we are so focused on safety and there are such good regulations around how the sport is to be operated. And we're part of the World Axe Throwing League. And to be part of the World Axe Throwing League, you have to meet certain safety requirements, right?
Yeah.
And we've got staff right there with you teaching you how to throw. So, I would say the safest way to throw an axe is the right way to throw an axe. And that's what we're going to teach you. We're going to teach you the right way to throw an axe. And then we're going to teach all the safety requirements and things that minimizes any chance of injury or of harm. So really not, the insurance, it's a thing. It's for sure a thing. But, thank God, knock on wood, whatever you think, we've not had any major incidents. And I want to say that attributed to the safety protocols in place, good staff, and then just people, taking a natural caution around, a sharp object like an axe. But,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered that. So this has been awesome. We've got a few more questions here. G, do you want to take them through some of the quick hit questions and
Yeah, absolutely.
fire round?
Yeah, I was actually thinking the exact same thing. So what we'll do is Dallas and I will take turns, Dan and Erika, and we'll kind of do a sort of lightning round. Well, I'll throw you a question, then Dallas will throw you a question, and I'll just throw it to one of you guys at a time. I'll let you give us your answer. So the next question I have is what mentors, I'll send this one to Erika, what mentors have been the most influential on your personal or business success? And what are some of the things that you have learned from them? Who are the people that coached you to success? What did you learn from them? Erika, go.
I think watching, like we said, both of our parents, we've been together forever, so I've watched his parents go through it as well, has been huge to see both the ups and downs it's had on both their marriage and their businesses. Has been a huge mentorship. Plus now that, like I've mentioned before, now that we're in the community, the community as a whole has, for axe throwing, has been huge on building our business to even be better. We ran our first tournament this year, and we had some pretty high expectations, and we'd never run one. So we reached out to some veterans in the community, and they were 110% in. They were amazing. They helped us run a tournament that we are now 4 months down the road from, 3 or 4 months, and people are still talking about how awesome our tournament was, and I attribute a lot of that to our friends in the community who had our back and pointed us in the right direction. I don't think we could have done it without a lot of them.
That's cool. So I'm actually going to jump back one because I think we missed it. But here in the last 5 years, Dan, this one's for you. In the last 5 years, what new belief or behavior has most improved your life?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would say, the ability to think outside the box. Right. I think that's key. Hard work, discipline. I've had to learn the value of creating a pros and cons list. I guess that timing. Those are probably the big key things that have had the most impact the last 5 years or so.
That's good.
Got it. Sending it back to Eric, what books have been most influential on your personal success?
I laughed because I knew I was going to get this question. I don't like to read. I don't sit still long enough. So if I sit down and read a book, I'm probably going to be out in about 30 seconds. So that'd be hard. I mean, I guess.
Well, how about like podcasts or?
I do like a couple of podcasts. I don't listen to any of them frequently enough that I could name them off. I'll sometimes randomly pick out leadership podcasts, and I cannot tell you who's talking, but I'll occasionally write down good tidbits while I'm working. I mean, stereotypical. I really do like Proverbs from the Bible. A lot of those good tidbits are written either in my phone, or I have a couple of different things that'll just kind of pop up. So those are kind of big, heavy hitters. So, but otherwise, I don't sit down and read very much because that would be my nap time.
I know it was Eric's question, but I mean, no joke, right? And I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know, but the Bible is chock full of really applicable wisdom. It's amazing how much of it applies to everyday life and small business ownership, right? Just common sense, oh yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I follow Simon Sinek a little bit, on the why, the why behind the what, that kind of stuff, but same way, don't read a ton, but.
That's awesome. So, so switching gears completely away from the Bible and inspirational books like that, what is an unusual habit? Dan, let's go to you on this one. What's kind of an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you're just creating? And actually, Erika, if you've got one too, we'd love it. Absurd habits, unusual things that you just absolutely love.
So axe throwing.
Sure.
No, that was funny. We were looking through the question. It was well, I think most people would consider axe throwing kind of an absurd, crazy habit.
Can I give you a crazy habit of Daniel's more than my own?
Yes, please, Erika.
Yeah,
if there's a sport,
a real story.
If there's a sport, right? If there's a sport or an activity presented to Daniel, he is 110% in, no matter what it is, all the time. And our friends, disc golf. We were at an axe throwing tournament. Our friend's hey, you want to go disc golf? He's oh, I've never done it before, but sure. And annoyingly so, he's really good at it. First time he tries it, everything.
Oh, sure.
It's annoying.
I mean, this is a guy who's in the top 10 competitive axe throwers within 3 years globally. Yeah. I'm not surprised at all to hear this, that he picks up other sports too.
True. Yeah, but on the flip side of that, I can't play any sort of musical instrument, and I can't carry a tune to save my life. So we all have gifts, and we all have not gifts.
There you go.
Erika, what are you most proud of in your business?
The community. I love how we have integrated ourselves in, because like Dan said, the sports side of it, the competitive side of it is huge for us. And we have both thoroughly integrated ourselves in the community. I'm actually part of the Women's Axe Council, which is a new council to help bring women and girls into the sport of it. It is currently predominantly led by men. There are a nice handful and growing of women that are rising to the top. And there's about 9 of us that have started a Women's Axe Council with the blessing of the World Axe Throwing League to help fund and support women. We're actually hosting our first women's only tournament, followed closely the next day by a regular tournament, so that hopefully those women will not only they'll get comfortable competing with just women and kind of get the bug that the next day they want to compete with men as well, because they've been cheered on and supported and shown that it's fun, and it's the community that stands behind you is huge. And so I love how much we've kind of integrated ourselves into that community and want to do better by it and help grow the community as a whole. Dan has been asked by a couple of people around the country to kind of give insight on our business. We helped give insight. They came to us, and we've answered questions for Maine, for an axe throwing company that started in Maine. They wanted to kind of form after us. So I just love how much we've kind of dove headfirst into the community as a whole.
That's awesome. And Erika, you and I need to have a conversation offline about I've got a referral network that's loaded with ladies who would be interested in that. So
awesome.
Definitely can have that conversation offline. Dan, to you, Erika just got to say what she was most proud of in business, but I'm going to ask you, what are you most proud of in life?
Yeah, we were talking about this on our drive, right? I think honestly, I have to say this isn't just corny, and it's not because our anniversary is this week, but I think our marriage, right? I mean, 15 years is like nothing to beat that, right? Like, so that we always put this first, and then our family, right? So our marriage, our family, and then we've both been very successful in our careers, and now in our small businesses. So I think I feel like. I feel like we're kind of winning in life, and I think it's because we put this first, and obviously a relationship with God. So it's the three, right? It's two of us, God, and that at the core, and then building out from there, and the ability to kind of have the discipline and to make wise choices, and then to follow through with them. That's probably what I'm most proud of.
Yeah,
building that, and and showing our kids that too. Right? That's again, it's that legacy thing we were talking about. But yeah, I think that's it.
That's awesome.
So you guys, one of the themes of the podcast has been you guys have a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of cool things unfolding here. As you look forward in life, what most excites you? Like, what are you most looking forward to?
I think, with this next chapter literally unfolding like right now, with me moving out of my full-time job into running our three businesses full-time, I think we're most looking forward to, we can make the move to both of us working full-time for ourselves. And then the freedom that opens up, for us and our time, and, be able to do more with kids and those kind of
community.
Things. Yeah.
Be able to invest in the things.
Of course.
We're not working those 9 to 5s necessarily. We can kind of flex our business around our needs.
Yeah. No, I think that's exciting. Of course, that we talked about. That's kind of that's the appeal of being, fully self-employed. But knowing that it's a lot of work, but yeah, being able to really fully focus on and dedicate our time to something we are building, and not dedicating our time to something that somebody else has built. Right? Again, nothing wrong with that, but we're excited to kind of be able to put all of our time, all of our energy at, our thing, right? Of course, we're in an exciting stage with our kids. They're growing, and they're, our old starting middle school this year, which is nuts. So, it's exciting to see how life unfolds and what they start getting interested in seeing, their lives unfold. So it's an exciting time of life.
That's awesome. So the billboard question, this is something we like to ask everybody. So I'm going to actually ask you both to give me your billboard of if you could make one statement to the world, what would it be? To ask it this way again, if you had one sentence that you could say on a billboard that would be seen by thousands or millions of people, what would that billboard say?
We actually asked this, and we were talking about in the car, and I think we have the same statements. It's kind of become our motto for how we run our businesses and our life. But it would say faith over fear. My axe actually, well, one of his axes, but my axe actually says that on the blade. It says faith over fear. I think it started with the pandemic. Running our business through a pandemic, we had to have faith that God really did lead us down this road, and it was what we were meant to do. We take it all to God. We pray a lot about our decisions, really kind of look for wisdom, both in the Bible, in people we trust, just in prayer in general. And I know Dan, at least for our axe throwing business, and I think he's played again as well, but for our axe throwing business, he literally felt like he almost audibly, I mean, not like literally, whatever, but almost audibly heard God say, if you honor me through it, like, I'll be there. Like, I got you.
Awesome.
And so we've kind of done that, like in general, with all these businesses. We feel like this is the way that God is leading us and pushing us, both for our business sake and our family's sake. So I think our billboard would say faith over fear.
Yeah, I love it. God is good.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we both said the days we're thinking about it, right? I think a lot of people may take that the wrong way, but it's not a blind faith, right? Like we're using, good sound principles that you would have to find in the Bible, but making wise choices, considering all of the options, and then at some level you're not in control, right? But we know that because we followed solid guidance, and made good wise choices through the way that we're having faith. God's provided for us multiple times before. We have no reason to think He won't prove faithful again and again. But no, it's that faith, the faith in the plan, the faith in God, the faith in us, the faith in the choices and the people we've surrounded, our community. It's faith in all of those things. So that's kind of our motto. And we may even get it tatted up one of these days. But faith over fear.
Well, as we wrap up this podcast, I want to thank you both for joining us on the podcast today. Dan, Erika, how can people find out more about, right now, Riverbend Axe Throwing?
Yeah, I mean, you had it up on the screen a minute ago, riverbendaxethrowing.com, AXE. And Greg, thanks for pointing that out. A lot of people spell axe without the E, which may seem correct, but it's wrong. riverbendaxethrowing.com, and then also on Facebook and Instagram at Riverbend Axe Throwing. Check us out. We're growing. We got 2 locations now. We're kind of starting to scope out maybe other potential locations and things like that too. So, check us out there. Pretty soon, Play It Again Sports, we'll have our Facebook page up and going first, and then pretty quickly right after that, we'll have a website going, and we'll have banners all over the location once we get formal and finalized. So, man, and actually we appreciate this opportunity to kind of chat with you guys and love what you guys are doing here.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys. It's been awesome. So thank you.
Dallas, go ahead and sign us out, my man.
Well, all right. I pulled you up to make you look good here at the end, but I'll do it. So everybody, thanks again.
I want to finish the podcast on a high note, Dallas.
All right. Dan and Erika, thank you again for coming. Everybody, if you want to get in touch with us here at CrossFit Edwardsville, you also go to CrossFitEdwardsville.com. And when you're ready to take the next step in your fitness to look better, feel better, perform better, you just go on that website, you book a no sweat conversation. But we're so excited again. Thank you, Dan and Erika. And as I always like to say, if you're ready with the video,
I'm ready.
Have a championship day.